here's the sexiness. You gotta beg. Psych. It's about a crappy friend. Like, that's why.
The cloning at the end is hilarious to me. I remember that very vividly. Like, that's the scene that I remember the most from this music video, is the cloning at the end.
She's singing like this, and I was like, girl.
Viewer discretion is advised. Your fave will be criticized.
That's Shan.
That's Chris.
And welcome to CCTV, the non-stop pop show.
And for today's episode, we are discussing All Saints' debut album.
Looking for an awesome global pop music podcast? Well, Shan and I have the inside scoop. With extensive experience performing on stage and working at record labels, we review and deep dive into your favorite artists, songs, and careers, and also interview music industry professionals. So you can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/cctvpops and become a part of our awesome crew, which includes Lisette, Lily, Emily, and Juliet. So subscribe now, and let's explore the world of pop music together.
Yes, together we can. All Saints. Now, someone requested that we do this for our eternal comments. Someone did it, and then someone else mentioned it under another Britpop act. It's just been, people have been asking. We have not been ignoring you. It's just that I had to learn. Chris has been trying to give me the scoop for a year now. They're great. I like them.
Yeah, I think during the pandemic, so just to give some context for everybody, during the pandemic, I gave Shan a huge crash course in British pop music. And I did basically what eventually turned into our Pop 101s, where I kind of just went through the career and was kind of like, okay, this was their first single, then this was their breakthrough hit, and And All Saints was one of the lists, was one of the ones that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you liking them a lot, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got some ads.
And yeah, this definitely is our most requested artist, I think, here on CCTV. Like, it wasn't just on the Sugar Babes ones. It's also on also on the Girls Aloud episodes. It's on the Steps episodes. It's like on everything. So we're finally getting into it. And we're going to start with some album reviews, and then they do have an interesting career as well. So eventually a 101 would be fun. But yes, I'm a big fan of All Saints. They are up there in my top 10 favorite girl groups, I would say. And they were a great counter to the Spice Girls at the time. They were the cool ones. They were more mature. And I actually have grown to appreciate their music a bit more, actually, as I've gotten older as well. So yeah, I'm excited to get into them. And I have no idea what you think of any of these songs, really. So
this is true.
Very excited for that as well.
Not me giggling maniacally, But yeah, let's get into it. We're going to go track by track and talk about the album. All Saints, it's a subtitle album, which is great. You didn't know who they were. So, released in November 1997, All Saints' debut album is one of the most successful girl groups album of all time, with over 5 million copies sold worldwide and reaching platinum status in countries including the U.S. Wow, look at us, finally accepting some Britpop. With member Shaznay at the creative helm and a slew of #1 singles, this album remains as a treasured project for pop fans 25 years later.
Okay, we will now go track by track and discuss the production, vocals, and lyrics, and give our ratings for each song. So, starting with Never Ever, which was done by Shaznay Lewis, Sean Maestro Mather, Robert Esmail Jazayeri, Magnus Fiennes, and Cameron McVeigh. And this was released as the second single from the album, and the song remains one of All Saints' biggest hits and arguably their biggest hit worldwide as well, hitting #1 in several countries including the UK and Australia, and peaking in the top 10 in the US, Canada, and all over Europe and Asia. Next to Spice Girls' Wannabe and Little Mix's Shout Out to My Ex, the song is the third highest selling girl group single ever in the UK.
Sheesh.
So Shaznay wrote the song after breaking up with her boyfriend, and she interpolated the melody of Amazing Grace. And the song won 2 Brit Awards in 1998 for Best British Single and Best Music Video. And speaking of the music video, there are 2. There's the original version and then the second version primarily made for the US market. So, what do you think of Never Ever?
Oh, man. What a long intro. You know, the funny thing is, I'm used to speaking... Someone's gonna be like, as soon as I said that, someone's gonna be like, she's a hater. I'm not hating. I'm just
saying, iconic.
yeah, it's one of those very brave moments where there is not much going on except oohs and not even ahs, just oohs. It's a lot of oohs, no ahs. And you have somebody talking like, "Well, I don't know what happened. Like, why did we break up? And I just don't understand. And blah, blah, blah. I need you to talk to me." And personally, me, I am this kind of person where I'm like, I need to write things down. Like, I'm giving people letters. I even sent someone a video at one point. And I was like, we need to talk. Can we talk about this? I don't like this whole like weirdness. Even if we don't reconcile, I'd like to know how to not make this mistake again. And that was expressed in this, the verse. And it's interesting because it's very relatable and realistic in terms of what people who want answers would do. Some people are like, I don't need closure. Closure's a luxury. But this one is interesting because it's like writing in your diary or like a journal or even now in the notes app, paragraph after paragraph about the person that hurts you.
Mhm.
So yeah, I had no clue what the song was about as a kid, but I remember it oddly. I don't know.
'Cause
It
it was
might have,
huge.
yeah, but I was little, so I was tired.
Yeah, but
Like,
they were still playing it after that, you know?
then I
This
hear
song
you.
has transcended. People remember this one, even in the US.
That's what I'm saying, but I don't know
Yeah.
where. Like I can tell you where I heard this one of this. Like, oh yeah, I heard Girls Aloud because of VH1. This one, I don't know if it was a movie or a
Mm.
TV show. I don't know why. Because when you played it, I was like, why do I know this song? And it could be because of the Amazing Grace interpolation, but I do like it. I think once the vocals come in, you're like, oh, hang on, this group can sing, and they also don't sound like teenagers, which is I can appreciate. But yeah, I think some parts, like the part that really sticks out to me is the vocabulary runs through my head like A to Z. I was like, "Zed," and I realized
Yeah.
that everyone else says that except Americans, but yeah, that stuck out to me. I love that. And I think this song is reminiscent of what was so interesting about 90s pop music. We talked about it before with Eternal, how there'd be inspirations of gospel and choirs and pop music. I was wearing a Mariah Carey shirt even yesterday, and someone was like, "I just miss her old stuff when she would, like, really go, like, take it to church." And it's true, a lot of people like that kind of feeling because it transcends just regular pop music. It feels like something more. But yeah, no, this song is really something that is special, and I can see why people liked it at the time. I too like this song.
Mm.
But I will say after listening to it, even like just taking away the whole like legacy of it, I had to listen to it and be like, do I actually like this song? And I would say yes. And I think what saves it for me is how swingy the verses are. It feels like they're riding the beat. So it doesn't feel like super poppy where it could have been cheesy. Like as we go on, like that kind of super cheesy, love that song, but it's very pop. This has a little bit of a cooler kind of like R&B, hip hop, head bop kind of feel to it. So you can appreciate a little bit more. You're heartbroken, but you can keep going. I'm gonna keep going. It hurts. I'm gonna cry though.
Mm.
And I appreciate that. So yeah, I like it.
Mhm.
Yes.
I love this song. I think it's pretty perfect as a pop song. I do think the 6-minute version is a tad excessive, so I do listen more so to the radio edit
Yeah.
sometimes. But yeah, I agree. I think the gospel inspiration here is really cool because
Uh,
it's relatively subtle. Like, obviously, you have an organ, but it is balanced very well with the piano, the electric guitar licks, and has the kind of R&B drum loop that was very common at the time as well. So yeah, I think the production is really, really well done.
uh,
Nicole's intro is awesome. Like, I actually heard this song out at a bar once in London, and literally everyone just stops talking and just recites the whole thing. Like, it's kind of amazing.
that's why it was like,
And even watching, like, these later festival performances that they've done in the later years and stuff, in more recent years, I should say, it's crazy how you just have, like, giant crowd, they know every single word, and it's beautiful. It's like a beautiful letter, like you said, and her delivery's so good. Like, it's melancholic, but it's not overly dramatic. So yeah, I think she does a great job there. And then getting into the verses, Melanie and Shaznay, I'm gonna say this now because it's kind of true for the whole project. Like Melanie and Shaznay balance each other vocally so well. Like they are meant to sing with each other. They both have very, very unique tones. So Shaz has more of a nasal quality, and there's kind of a
mhm,
natural sass to her voice, while
yeah,
Mel, on the other hand, is a little sweeter, more innocent. But then there's like an aloofness as well. And that aloofness is kind of also there for Shaznay, which is why I think they blend so well together. But yeah, I just think they sound so good together. Yeah, just very effortlessly cool, I think.
yeah, yeah. Who was it? I think it was like, baby, baby, baby love. Diana Ross hated that song. And
Mm.
there's a point to this. She hated the song, but Berry Gordy kept the take where she was like, baby, baby, they don't leave me. But because she has like she's a great soprano vocalist. She has a nice blend in her voice. Her head voice is very beautiful. It's very airy. That's the kind of vibe I get. I'm saying she doesn't care. I'm not saying that Nicole doesn't like the song, but that same tone, that aloofness, that's what I hear too. It's very effortless. Because even with Diana, she did not like that song, but that's the take that they kept because she's just that good. And I get that.
That's cool.
Because I hear it, right? And I was like, I hear that. I totally hear that little.
Yes,
I'm like,
especially melody.
girl,
Yeah,
yes, I love it. You're right, it does. Yeah, so I concur.
love
That's my
that.
point. I concur.
Yeah, and this song's cool because it is kind of conversational in the way it's written as well. So it is very internal and it's kind of depressing, but then they're singing it so nonchalantly that it balances out so well, so it's not too
Yeah.
sappy. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. So there actually is a lot of behind the scenes drama with this song. So we'll get into that with the eventual 101, but just FYI,
Oh,
a lot of drama.
yes.
But yes, so we have 2 music videos. What do you think of the 2? Which one do you like more?
It may be a secret. Maybe not. I don't know. But I don't say it a lot. But I've noticed that when Americans get a hold of a song that already has a video, instead of just, I don't know, just replaying the video, maybe it's like a rights thing. I don't know. Maybe it could be a rights thing. I don't know how film stuff works like that. But why not use the same video? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
I don't get it either.
In the Brit version, it's very much like reminiscent of a breakup. Like I remember these memories with this person I was with. There's even a little chunky dog and they're in the apartment. Like, oh, who gets the dog? Like, it just feels like a breakup. In the American version, these young ladies are in a church. Why? Because someone heard church organs and was like, go to the cathedral. Let's make it happen. Man, and was there explosions? Like there was just a lot.
There's explosions in both of them. So I think the explosions make more sense in the British video
That's what I'm saying.
because it's kind of cool because it's a representation of how they're feeling. Like they're blowing up their apartments and stuff. You know?
Yes. But
I
it
think in
makes
the
sense.
US one, it's more just like fireworks, right? Or not fireworks, but it's like, yeah, random things like the pipes and stuff like explode. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. This is why I'm questioning why they were in the US version because it was just like, what the heck? But in the Brit version, I was like, I felt that. Again, even with the chunky dog, I was like, who gets the dog? In a breakup, that's a very important conversation to have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I
Yes.
appreciated it. And the girls were emoting, and you can kind of like, it was like the girls look super serious in the American version. But
Yeah.
in the Brit version, Jasmine even smirks a couple times. Like there's a little bit of her head, she's leaning her head in that head bop way. Like I feel like they just, I don't know what happened, but yeah, that's how I feel about that. How do you feel about it?
So obviously the US video is the one that I know because that one was all over like VH1 and MTV and stuff at the time. But I agree with you. I don't really get why they needed to refilm this one because I thought the UK video was very effective and it fit the song perfectly. What I really don't get in the US one are the really random shots of like the flowers and the helicopter and the horse. And then they added sound effects to each of those things as well. And then I, of course, remember the end very well, the cloning. The cloning at the end is hilarious to me. I remember that very vividly. Like, that's the scene that I remember the most from this music video is the cloning at the end. So yeah, the British one definitely wins there. Did you have a chance to watch any of the performances? What did you think?
Oh my God, I love I remember I said this had like a cool
that little bop
thing to it.
Yeah.
I forgot that that's what the choreography had. And it's so interesting looking at like the way they were dressed. Like, but back then, dressing like that was all the rage back in the 90s, you know? So I think it was really cool to see them dressed like that because we had groups like that here in America. That was just their uniform. Like, hey, SWV, Escape, all those groups like that, dressed like that. So to have them do that over there was really cool, you know? So again, it just kind of adds that the hip hop edge, hands, to this really sad little breakup song. Me saying little isn't pejorative, but just it's sad. It's like, you know, I feel so sad, but we're still cool bopping. So I liked it. And then their recent performance, like you said, about like how the intro spoken part, everyone knows it. Just watching them perform it at festivals, and everyone's going, did I not? Like everyone's just like yelling it out. Like, did I always start the fight? Like, it's great. So yeah, this is one of those performances that I feel like at the time made sense for the choreography. It wasn't like this weird, like them, you know, breaking it down. It just fit. And even how they perform it, they don't even have to bop. They can just let the audience sing the song. So kudos to them. I mean, Good.
Yeah, it is interesting watching it over the years because the blend and the harmonies have gotten way stronger through the
Mm.
years as
Mhm.
well. I mean, this calls back to some of the drama I was referring to, but yeah, they're much happier now, or I guess in the more recent performances, right? So, yeah, it's nice to see them performing it nowadays. But yeah, I find the choreography very funny, like the step bop thing.
You have
It's
to
fun.
break it back. The 90s were so extra with those bops. Like, what? Absolutely. We make fun of it to this day. To this
Oh
day.
man.
All right. So, that being said, what do you give the score? I think I know your score.
I'm very obviously a 10. The song was amazing. How about you?
Like I said, I had to kind of listen to this without the nostalgia attached to it and like
Mhm.
the legacies left behind. And because it's super long, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 because it's not like, oh my God, to me, because it's my
Okay.
sensibilities. I'll give it a 9.5. I'm sitting at a 9 for a minute, maybe
Okay.
even lower.
All right.
But
Interesting.
it's at a 9 right now. Yeah.
The British people will be very mad at you. No, I'm kidding.
Be mad then. For the break
All
my
right.
neck. Up next is Booty Call. And this was done by Shaznay Lewis and Carl Gordon, aka KG. And this was released as the 4th single from the album. And Booty Call continued the #1 streak for the group in the UK.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Get into some fun stuff now. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's always been a weird one for me, honestly,
Oh,
because I
really?
remember not thinking much of it as a kid, which makes
Oh,
sense, right? I was
oh yeah,
like
true.
7
True, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
or 8.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what they're singing about. And like, it's quite like a monotone song. And so I was kind of just like, I just didn't really get it as a kid. Now I do, though. Now I think it's really cool. So it's one of those that has grown on me quite a lot. I do still think, though, it was kind of a risk as a single. Like, it's kind of a weird one for a single, but I'm glad it went to #1. That's awesome.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah. But the lyrics are super cheeky, very sassy. I do love the confidence of it all.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of reflects a lot of different aspects of a hookup, too. Like, it's not just about a one night stand or whatever. Like, they talk about their emotions and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, I don't know, it gets, like, kinda deep, which I
No, it
appreciate.
does. It's just so funny.
Yeah.
There's layers to my
Yeah, there's layers to their booty calls.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so KG is known as the unofficial 5th member of All Saints because he was kind of a big part of them, like, creating their sound and in partnership with Shaznay as well, of course. And he has a really cool production style, like, there's a lot of tension in it. I love the
Uh-huh.
little phone sounds and the beeps and the breaths. It just makes it all feel very dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't love the vocal loop of him. I think it's him doing the you know.
I'm crying. It's like, get out of here.
The chorus is cool. It's very simple, bring it
Yeah.
on, bring it on.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it builds nicely. It kind of starts with the low octave, then they bring in the harmonies and the higher octave. And then with the
Uh-huh.
verses, you get the members switching in and out. There's some talky moments, there's some singing moments. So it's kind of conversational as well. So even though the melody is like kind of monotonous, they do a good job with the execution. And all the verses are kind of different from each other as well. So yeah, I just think it's a cool track. And when they sing it live, there's even more harmonies as well, which I love.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we love a little bit of a elevation in a track. We
Mhm.
love that. This one is interesting because when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, okay, what's going on here?" And then I heard that beatboxing, rapid beatboxing things, and it
Mm.
reminded me of Timbaland. And I know obviously KTV came before, but that loop is also in Aaliyah's "I Miss You," and she had recorded that before her passing. So she was like, what, 19, around the same time. So it's
Mm.
interesting, kind of like hearing, yeah, she had recorded it like when she was like 17, 19, around like the One in a Million era. So that loop I latched onto, and I was like, "Am I gonna like this song?" And I do. I actually do like it. It made me like tune in very keenly when I heard that, and I think I like the way it is because it does sound like R&B. It sounds like TLC actually, like the way it's delivered. It sounds like TLC, like the first-ish album, like less hip hoppy. Well, no, it's just as hip hoppy, but not as like New Jack Swingy. There we go,
Mhm.
as the debut TLC album. And I appreciate the line distribution. I think because it has that 90s R&B vibe, the line distribution came as like a nice refreshing, take, because coming in and out with vocals and like all these little rap talky bits, it just reminds me of what's going on with K-pop now. And I think I texted you one night about All Saints being the blueprint for K-pop
Yeah.
songs. I was like, it wasn't this song, but I was like, "Oh my God." She definitely is like an inspiration. Like I was like, and this, but I mean, totally. Like we joke about it, but I mean, K-pop is back in the day was known for like finding these random European tracks and like remaking them. So I could see this being that and revamped in some K-poppy way. But this song is fun. I like it. It fits in my sensibilities of what I used to like when I was younger, and it holds up for the most part. And I like that it's
Mhm.
not like 6 minutes long.
Damn. That's
I'm
what the radio
teasing.
edit's for.
I know I'm
Yeah.
totally teasing.
Okay, so what do you think of the music video and the performances?
So the music video was interesting because of the color of it. I don't know why I sat here and was thinking like they're gonna get really like, oh yeah, like raunchy with it. 'Cause see, in my mind, when I hear the title or see the title of a song, I judge the book by the cover. Can't help it. But
Yeah.
I appreciate that they did not do it. Like my initial thought was, oh, they're gonna do something with this. But they kind of kept it really chill. It wasn't too like off-putting, which
Mhm.
makes things a lot more digestible because the song's already doing what it needs to do. The girls deliver the sultriness very well. The black and white really just kind of makes it even more like almost like a film noir, but not really. You know what I'm saying? It gives like that dark kind of
Yes.
look to it. So it was fun. Like them sitting in the car is interesting. I mean, people
Mhm.
get jiggy in the backseat all the time. But the wind is blowing in the backseat. It's just very much like everyone's out in the city trying to get whatever they're trying to get, and the girls are kinda just making commentary about it. That's what it feels like. They're kinda just like, they just see what's
Yep.
going on. But yeah, no, I think it's a simple video. I do wish for, like, maybe, like, scenes of them all together and kind of like,
Bopping.
dancing bopping together. Yeah, exactly. Not me doing it, not saying what I was doing. But yeah, a little bit of bopping would've been fun, like a whole, like, group scene, but it was okay. I like the whole, like, metropolis vibe, but nothing like, "Wow, amazing." But yeah,
Yeah, I
okay.
think it's cool. I think it is subtle, but it does work. I do love how, like, the guys on the payphones and stuff, it does get a little sleazy because it's like, what are they doing on those payphones? But it never kind of crosses the line there. It's more just kind of a question mark there.
Yeah,
And then there
yeah.
are other random miscellaneous conversations happening on the phone too. Like you have people arguing and like, other non-sexy things. And yeah, just little things like even the random woman hitting the golf ball and stuff. Like, yeah, it was all just like kind of cool. Like it didn't really make sense, but it was cool. And then performance wise, so Mel was very pregnant during these promo performances. So
Yeah.
seeing her do like all those hip hits and she's like about to
Yes.
pop, it's like, dang.
That poor baby. Yeah.
They did do an unplugged version recently on radio or a few
Mhm.
years ago now.
Sure.
That is such a good version. It sounds so good. You would never think that this would work well acoustic,
Oh, it's
but it does.
I'm
Yeah,
crying. It passed the Dolly Parton test that you were
it
talking about.
did, which is surprising. I'm going to be honest with this one.
Yeah. That shows that, Shazzy could write a good song. All right, but yeah, no, you're right. The belly twerking was great. But yes, no, that aside, what do you give this? Because I actually gave it a similar score. It was close for me for Never Ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it fits my personal like tastes and stuff, like what
Mhm.
I used to be into. Right. I gave this one like a 8.5. So
Okay. Yeah, I will go an 8. Yes. Okay. Up
okay.
next, we have I Know Where It's At, which was done by Shaznay Lewis, KG, Magnus Fiends, and Cameron McVeigh with a sample of The Fez by Steely Dan. And this was released in August 1997 as All Saints' debut single, and it hit number 4 in the UK and number 36 on the US Billboard Hot 100. What do you
Mhm.
think?
I remember you showing me this video and I was like, I wish I was that cool. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I know we're not talking about the video just yet, but I'll get into it a little bit later. But I like this. No tea, no shade to any group, anybody. But this group is super lucky that they had someone like competent enough to contribute to the musical composition and understand the sound of the group. Like, I'm not sure what pre-debut was like for them, but like it goes to show like once you have a member or you have a producer or someone that really knows the vocals of a group or of an artist, it helps. Cause it's like there's not gonna be someone that sounds like them if you know what the heck you're doing. Oh my gosh. And like the first harmony, I know where it's at. As in unison. But it's nice to hear, and then the beat, the drum beat comes in, you're like, "Ooh, where's this going? Where is it at? Where is it going? I wanna go with you." Like, it's nice. And
Mhm.
it's like, again, the beat is just this funky little thing, like, it's just pop personality with a G mentality. You know, I love it. Stole that from Aaliyah. But, you know, it's just really cool. And I remember showing me the song and I heard Shazne's rap and I was like, oh my God, this is very much like Left Eye. I think her adopting that American rap accent was smart too. Because I mean, like, when I heard it, I was like, hang on, wait, stop. I think that's probably why I like them too. They kind of sound like TLC, not in a copy way,
Yeah.
but I hear Chili's voice in some of these chorus harmonies. I hear Left Eye in the raps. Doesn't mean they were copying, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I remember, I hear, I like, and it's actually good enough to stand on its own. Where if I didn't know TLC, I would probably still like this. This is my own personal taste. But yeah, it's interesting what you guys had to listen to, like in the UK. You know, it's just like when we did the Eternal 101 video, they had a couple songs that remind me of like Whitney Houston or like, you know,
Yeah.
like Power of Love sounded like Emotions to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like the Brits had something, the US had something. When you put them, now we're listening to it like retrospectively, it's like, whoa, this is pretty freaking tight. So yeah, I like it a lot. I'm going to stop because I can go on about this song for days. But
to be fair, it actually did hit the top 40 in the US too. So some people do still remember this one too, which is good. But yeah, I think this is classic. Like, it's got so many great elements of a great 90s pop song.
Yeah.
I do miss the self-referential pop songs as well, where they call themselves out. Like, I know it's cheesy, but I do love
Is it? I mean, I feel like if it's done right, it's not too cheesy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
But even
yeah.
the really cheesy ones are great. S Club Party, anyone?
Oh,
But
yes.
I do enjoy the whole structure of the track. The intro is like a chant, you know? Like a battle cry. And it's instantly catchy, starting immediately with the chorus. It's just a great sing-along moment.
Yeah.
The production is relatively simple. It's kind of a more typical R&B drum loop again. Nothing too much going on in the instrumental. It's got a nice bass line, but it really does rely on the vocals and the harmonies and stuff to kind of give it the structure and give it the depth, which is nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also love Shazne's rapping as well. She actually doesn't rap that much throughout the whole discography. This one might be one of the only singles, really. There's like one more on this album, but yeah, it is interesting because I do love it. I feel like she could use that more, actually.
Maybe we delve a little bit more, but I think it was also, it's like a shame, but also smart because then I probably would have been like, it sounds like TLC throughout if they would have
That's valid. Yeah. So it's like special choices. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, they did not have to refilm this video for the US. They did release the same one globally because it is a great video. Yeah. What do you think? Now you can talk about it.
It looks so hot. Like, I wish I had friends like this. I mean, my friends are very cool, but like if I was like, but like I would say I was in a girl group because of that. That's my point. I wish I was in a girl group. Like they're literally just wearing freaking low-rise jeans and tank tops, and I was like, I want to wear low-rise jeans and tank tops. Like, it's very much like Regina George wore a tank top and flip-flops, so I wore tank tops and flip-flops, and that's what these girls are doing. Like, I looked at them and I was like, I want to wear the glasses on my head. I want to wear Shazne's hair, the wig. I want to wear that. I want to wear all of it. Like, I want to be part of this. I think the color grading in this video is very interesting because it's weird.
Yeah.
It's super weird. It's almost, I thought it was like overexposure, but it's not. It's just the colors are muted for the bodies, and then it's set to one tone in the background. So it kind of makes you focus on who's ever singing in the middle. There's a lot of depth in it too, because they're in a bunch of freaking hallways. I don't know where they're going, but they know where it's at. Wherever it
They
is,
do.
they're still going to it. This whole video is where they're going. Like, I was like, they were walking the whole video, and I'm like, yo, are you going to get wherever this at is? Like, wherever it is. The bedroom, them laying on the bed. I don't know how I feel about that. They look hot. It just doesn't make sense to me in terms, I guess. Oh, hang on. They know where it's at. Maybe
That's where it's at.
where it's at. Okay, I stand corrected. It is very much like where Wannabe, the Zig a Zig. You didn't know what it was until you got older. Now I'm older and I'm looking at this video and I'm like, oh, that's where it's at. But get down, Shawty, get down. What did you think of this video when you were little Chris? You know, like, what were your thoughts?
I loved it. They're so cool because it really is what I was saying before. Like, they were such a good opposite to the Spice Girls. The Spice Girls were super colorful and they were loud, and they, you know, when they entered the room, they like took it over. All Saints were the opposite, where they're just like, we don't care. Like, we don't need to try that hard. We know we're living our best lives, you know? So just great to kind of have the two as kind of the leading girl groups at the time. So, and they're great. It's very entertaining. And there's nothing's even really happening, but they kill it.
But just,
Yeah.
I know if you.
Yeah. And I love the ripping as well. It's great.
Oh yeah, very good at it. Right,
Yeah.
I like that too.
Mhm. All right. So I will give this one a 9.5. How about you?
I'm gonna give this one a 10 because again, it fits my sensibilities.
Yeah.
I give one a
Fair,
10.
fair.
Up next is Under the Bridge, and this is a cover of Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it was written by Chad Smith, Anthony Kiedis, John Frusciante, and Flea. And for this version, it was produced by Nelly Hooper and KG. This was released as a double A side with their cover of Lady Marmalade, and the single became the group's second #1 single in the UK. And this version was inspired by member Natalie's love of rock music and interpreted with the group's R&B pop sound. And this cover actually received a lot of mixed reviews, including Anthony from Red Hot Chili Peppers, because he was not a fan.
Mm.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't blame him because I actually knew this version first. The Red Hot Chili Peppers version first. Excuse me.
Yeah.
No offense, but the original meaning is about someone hitting rock bottom as an addict.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for saying it strangely. I just don't want you two to get funky with us, guys. Sorry. But yeah, as an addict, and even though the girls sound good, I can understand his disdain. Like, you hit rock bottom, you know, people have rock is ruined. This Drugas has ruined people's lives, and we wrote a song about it. And yes, it may be catchy, but it's very personal. But yeah, it's almost like with Girls Aloud doing Stay Another Day, like someone's brother had passed away and you guys covered it. Like it was
Mm.
meaningful for people. So it's a little bit difficult. And I'm not saying that you can't cover a song just because it has these deep meanings, but there's other songs you can cover. You know what I'm saying? In their defense, though, I think that they did a good job. They sounded good. And I'm not saying that the girls could not relate, but it's just, I don't know what the strong enough reason outside of being a fan was. You know what I'm saying? So that's my only kind of like, dang, maybe not the song. But now on to some, some compliments. I do appreciate the way they made it all sanctified. I think the mid-tempo hip-hop approach may have not been the complete route to take with this, but I will say that it kind of added to the storytelling of the lyrics, and it made me think of like Inner City, and I hate that I thought that, but it just helps because I know the meaning of the song, and for them to kind of take like this more quote-unquote urban approach, it made me think of like poverty-stricken areas and urban areas. That's what this kind of does that. Because aside from that, I really can't really correlate any other emotion with that except what I know about the song. Now, objectively, like thinking about it, it sounds cool for them. The harmonies are really nice because there's no harmonies in the original. Not no harmonies, but not as prominent in the original. So I appreciated it. It was definitely somber enough to really feel believable. But yeah, I mean, they did a good job to me. It's just, again, I think with all those dynamics and the nuances and all these other layers, kind of just, it's a little weird.
Yeah. So for me, obviously, I was like 7 or 8. So I had not heard the Red Hot Chili Peppers one before. The first time I heard the song was the All Saints one. So very different experience, I guess. So I have no emotional attachment to the original at all.
Got it. That makes sense.
So it's hard for me to, like, obviously looking at it retrospectively, I understand the critique of it. And I actually really like the Red Hot Chili Peppers version as well. But I actually do think the All Saints one is quite good. They did truly make it their own. They did at least keep the signature guitar riff there. And the rest of the production, I don't know. I think it's cool. It retains the darkness that is the original. Like, it's not like Stay Another Day in the sense where they're suddenly singing it like it's
like
this
a disco.
bright pop song about a relationship. Like, this one still feels like it could be about the same subject matter, really, in the way they're emoting it. And so I think they actually did a good job with that. And the harmonies for sure are my favorite part of the song. And it's all very low as well, which Chazné is always really good about. And then there's kind of the switch up for the final choruses too, where it kind of has its own melody. It gets kind of like staccato and stuff. So it's kind of cool. And finally, we get to hear Natalie do a full verse. She sings the second verse. And I have to say, I love Natalie's tone as well. She brings something very different from Melanie and Chazé, but she balances them well. It's thick, a bit more rock stylistically, a bit more belty.
Yeah. Sounds like Katie from Bardot to me a little bit in that sense.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And yeah, the other two are a bit more icy, and even Nicole as well. Nicole can also be a bit more icy as well. So Natalie brings a bit more of a warmth there that maybe the other three don't have. So yeah, I just think the four of them just have a really, really cool blend. And it's great that Natalie gets a little moment here for sure.
Finally.
Yeah. Yeah, so the music video actually served as a part 2 to the music video for Lady Marmalade. So in Lady Marmalade, which we'll talk about later, obviously, they're at a party in an apartment building, and then, spoiler alert, it collapses. So then under the bridge is them, like, struggling on the remains of the building. I do think it's a cool visual.
Absolutely.
Like, it doesn't really go anywhere after the initial setup. So once you kind of realize what's going on, that it's kind of like, okay, like, is anything else going to happen now? But they look cool. They all have, like, funky hair and stuff, and they're styled pretty coolly. I do have to say, though, the only complaint, they couldn't get someone who at least can play the actual guitar riff in the beginning and the ending. Like, they just have this random kid that's strumming, and it's like, it doesn't even look like the guitar.
The kid in the alleyway, the alleyway, the hallway. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm crying in the club. But I agree. You mentioned the second verse. Yeah, I was like in my notes. I said the vocal delivery. She just floats on the song. But yeah, like this video definitely adds to what I was saying. Like it makes you think of the way their approach is. Makes me think of like inner city, and this looks like an urban area that's been like dilapidated, like a project. I'm not saying who lives in a project. I'm just saying it looks like a project. But yeah, it also reminds me of the Evanescence music video because of like the looking down on the,
Oh, yeah.
the life. I know like the chicken before the egg, like one came before the other, obviously. But I just think of that. But yeah, I think the video does what it needs to do. They still look super cool, which is crazy. Like it's so annoying. I'm like, how do you guys do this so effortlessly? But yeah, I do appreciate the video being dark and still maintaining the thematic elements of the lyrics, but also bringing that quote unquote urban appeal that the beat actually has into it. So again, it's all encompasses everything really well. Like this man's feelings, though no offense to them at all, to Red Hot Chili Peppers, it's not going to change my score. They're still going to get a really good score. Sorry, man.
All right, so what do you give it?
I'm going to give this one a 9. Yeah, I like this one.
I'm going to go 9.5. I do really like it as well. Also, just one quick shout out to the dance routine. More bopping. More hip hits. More bopping. Oh, man, it's great.
Listen, the Sugar Babes have the sway. This girl got the bop.
All right, moving on to track 5, our first album track. We have Heaven. And this one was written by all 4 members of All Saints, Shaznay Lewis, Melanie Blatt, Natalie Appleton, and Nicole Appleton. And they wrote it alongside Magnus Fiends and Cameron McVeigh. What do you think of this one?
Cameron McVeigh. We talked about him earlier.
Yes, he eventually then worked with the Sugar Babes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Look at him getting a start with a cool group and getting with another cool group. He knows his bag. Yeah, this one is interesting because it's an album track, like you said, but oh man, that bass line, the zippy, zappy little buzzing in your ear. Oh man, I had no clue about where the song was going to go in my mind. And then like, there's a sound of bells. I'm like, okay, I see the title. I looked back because I try to listen to it without like looking at the titles too much. Because I'm like, I want to see what's going to happen. I don't want to come up with the conclusion on my own. But this one was interesting because I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, there's something really lucid about this song. Like, there's a structure, obviously. There's a verse and a chorus. But something about it also feels amorphous. Like, there's like the emotions in the lyrics depict that like kind of lucidness. It's very like not all over the place, but it just flows in this very like conversational ways. There's times for the track to breathe and you to really appreciate what's happening with the production, but you're still singing in the verse. Like there's a 2-part verse in the first verse. And I was like, wait, what? What's going on? So that's why I felt like it was a little amorphous and felt a little like strange. And I think that the uncertainty, like it feels, it's like an oxymoron, but their uncertainty feels very sure. Like they know that they're uncertain about things. They don't know where life is going to go. And like, this is out of my hands, but I'm okay with that. And I like that the lyrics kind of have that storyline, even as it progresses. Like, I don't know what's going on. I still don't know what's happening. And then eventually like accepting that. And I appreciate that. When the song just vamps without the music, I'm like, what's going on? And then the chorus comes in, it just floats and like, I didn't know how to feel about it at first, but I was like, I like this song because I didn't listen to the lyrics. I was just like, wait, is that the verse? Is that the chorus? I was so busy questioning. When I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is solid. So I like this one. I think it's definitely a good example of like having a strong freaking album track instead of just being a filler. When did you first hear the song, by the way? Did you buy the album or is this like something
Yes, my sister bought the album.
Stop. Oh my God. Okay.
But I'm pretty sure I listened to it more than she did.
Someone ruined this album in my CD player. Go off.
Yeah. I think this one, again, it's really cool. I'm probably going to use that word for everything. But to have a song called Heaven that is not super cheesy, And to have the lyrics be like kind of hopeful, but then confusing and also kind of sad as well. Like it's just a really interesting balance and very poetic. And they all emote that very well.
Mhm.
I think the melody is super, super pretty. Again, the build of the harmonies just keeps the song growing. I absolutely love Shazanay's bridge with Mel's responses as well. Just a really, really cool moment. And then you get this kind of like whirling bass as well. That's kind of awesome. I do have a question though for the fans because I have always found it sometimes tough to tell Natalie and Nicole apart. And I know Natalie is singing the second verse, but is it Nicole leading the chorus here? So yeah, let me know. I can't fully tell. Natalie's usually a bit huskier, a little thicker,
No, I know what
but
you
they do
mean.
kind of sound very similar, so can't fully tell. So let me know what you think.
No, that's valid. That's so valid. Because sometimes, like, I'll get, like, certain vocals mixed up. They're, like, related. Like, me and my sister, I'm obviously the better singer, but, like, sometimes I'll hit note and it should be like, "Oh my god, no, that's you." You know, like, it's just totally we're related. But, yeah, no, this song is sad nuts. I think the bridge was definitely, like it's like a bridge outro thingy. It was very wonky. I like that one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so okay. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 because I like it a lot. I like it a
Okay.
lot.
Okay. I'm going to give it an 8.
All right, y'all. Let's hop into that next track. And up next, we have Alone. It's done by Shaznay Lewis once again and KG. Woo! KG.
Yes. KG again coming through with those interesting sounds. That fart noise at the start of the song is so odd. And it shows up at kind of select moments throughout the song as well. But that was definitely a choice.
Yeah, I feel
I
bad.
will say, though, production-wise, I do appreciate that the instrumental plays a role in the melodies actually as well in here. Yeah, this song's not my favorite, I'm gonna be honest. I think the vocal production is probably the most interesting part of the song because you kind of have the leads where they're kinda like it sounds like they're on a phone, on the other end of a phone
Oh,
line,
yeah.
but then the harmonies are very clear. So it's just a cool listening experience to have the harmonies be the ones that are not the distorted ones. And the harmonies are super tight in this one as well, I have to say.
Yes, they
Yes.
are
Yeah,
tight.
melodically, yeah, again, it's, like, very nonchalant, although the lyrics are actually kind of deep as well. You know, they're, like, kinda questioning their partner's thoughts and feelings, but then, like, they don't wanna end up alone, so there's kinda like, "What do I need to do to not be alone?" So, yeah, just an interesting angle, I guess, to that subject.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, I think the song is, like, just okay. Like, it doesn't really go anywhere, and among the album, it's not a very memorable one for me. Yeah, I believe it was a B-side to I Know Where It's At, maybe, and so I find it odd that then it ended up on the album as well. Because actually some of the B-sides from this album here are great. So, anyway, I don't know, what do you think?
You know, this one's sonic choices were a little grating for me, especially that high-pitched whistle that appears. I can't do it right now, but it's a very high pitch like that woo, wee. I'm singing down several octaves, but I almost turned my computer off. I almost turned my headphones out. I was listening to my car. I just don't like it. I don't mind a little beatbox and the sound because it's a beatbox. That's what I think. And you little fart sound. That's had me weak. You said little fart sound. It's like I don't mind it at first, but yeah, that whistle throughout the course, I don't care for it. The filter, that voice effect, that radio, it's
Mm.
meant to make it sound a radio filter, meant to make it sound like a phone call. I guess it was there to add that cool effect. I actually don't mind it, but the effortless approach on the album at this point is starting to feel a little more just uninspired slash bored. Not saying that we weren't feeling inspired, but now it's starting to kind of be a little like too cool for school. Like after a while, like it's okay to start kind of introducing a little bit more energetic, tones in the verses. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I want a little bit of a switch in the vocal approach, the sonic approach. Is it laid back and cool? Absolutely. But sure, after the umpteenth track being this way, what is the charm of this song? Right. And that's where I'm like, okay, the fatigue was starting to set in a little bit for me here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I agree with you in terms of like, this ain't do it all the way for me. So I gave like an average score of it was like 6.
Okay, I'll go slightly higher, I'll do a 6.5. Yeah.
Oh,
Alright, moving on to If You Want to Party, I Found Lovin', which was done by Michael Walker, Johnny Flippin, and Johnny Douglas, and this samples I Found Lovin' by the Fatback Band. Okay, so this one has quite a story. So, it was
Really?
originally recorded in 1995 under the name Let's Get Started by the group's first iteration, All Saints 1975, when Shaznay and Mel were a duo. There was a third member named Simone who had just quit right before the release of the song. So then it was rewritten, re-recorded, and retitled for the album after the Appleton sisters joined. And the song was then released as a single exclusively only in Japan with an exclusive Japanese music video as well.
You know, I get the whole territories thing, but the Japanese thing I don't get.
Why? Japanese people love their pop songs.
No. But why is it specifically to appeal to Japanese like listeners? It's so interesting because like I guess at the time, like even with like Prince songs, my friend's a huge Prince fan. She gets all these illegal downloads from Japan because she has hookups and stuff like that. And I'm like, why was this the Japanese thing? Fine out here, like this right here.
Mhm.
Do you know how many Black Americans would love "I Found Love"? Like the original. That's why I said like I love this song when you were like talking. I love the original song. Since I found you and loving you. I just want to sing it now. I love the freaking song. You know how many Black Americans would have loved this? So I just don't understand
Uh.
why the Japanese got it first. I mean, got it solely, excuse me. But, you know, I like this song. Like, the original is so freaking good. But yeah, it definitely picks up the energy of the album in an
Yes.
authentic way. And that's what matters. It wasn't just like, well, here it is. Here we go. And I appreciate that. And I think they kind of made the original track of I Found Lovin' was very much like there's like this weird wiry something in the original one because of like the time of the technology that they had. So I like that they kind of spruced it up a little bit. Because it's mildly grating the original, because there's like a weird high pitched whistle as well in that song. But you know, this one is fun. And we got a little rap again. She's back rapping, and it makes sense and it feels authentic because we already got the rap and I know where it's at. So again, it just feels super authentic. And this one, I love the way that the vocals are mixed in the chorus, like that one voice made of several harmonies. Totally appreciate it. I mean, like they're really focused on the blend in the studio, and I appreciate the mix on that. And again, the rap makes everything feel like a kickback. Like this song is very much like Black Barbecue for sure. And it's fun. It adds to the song's vocal dynamic, which I wanted from before. And interestingly enough, I heard this song, like the whole song throughout, and I was like, oh man, I can hear like a SM band, a SM group doing this. Like our Red Velvet is a K-pop group that does a lot of like R&B songs, like with this kind of way, the way everything's mixed and even the structure of the song. And I was like, you know what, All Saints, I think high key, low key may have had an influence. But again, like I said, K-pop is definitely influenced by like early British and like Swedish writers and stuff like that too. But like this song is fun. It does what it needs to do, which is regalvanize me as a listener. So yeah, I appreciate it as a track for sure.
Nice. Did you have a chance to listen to the original duo version as well? It's kind of interesting to hear kind of like how the song grew, because there's definitely a chillness in the duo version where they kind of definitely made it more poppy for the final kind of refined version for the four of them. It's kind of an interesting show of also just the transition of music from like the mid 90s to the late 90s as well, because there's like a 3 or 4 year difference there. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Absolutely. No, you're right. It does have a little bit more of like this is for the urban market sound.
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought it'd be funny, but it does.
totally.
Even the original video just looks like how 90s videos were, like when Aaliyah came out with Back and Forth, that overexposure or like the oversaturation, the block party,
Yeah.
like very much like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And everyone's dress is very like Real Love, the dancing in the water, very Black American music video. Just fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I do really like this song. It's got such a happy melody, which I do agree it's kind of needed on this album because it was getting a little dark and somber up until now. So yeah, it was good to have a song that's just fun to sing along to. And though the two Appleton sisters don't get lead vocals on this song, because you get this progression, because you get to hear like the version of the duo and then the version with all four, you can see how important the two of them actually were to the blend. They add so much to the chorus and to those backing vocals. It sounds so much more powerful. And the way they rewrote, all the choices they made to rewrite the song were all really good as well. The second verse is much stronger. So yeah, just kind of fun to hear a song kind of grow in that way. But yeah, I think this totally could have been an international single. I mean, they released like 7 singles from this album, so
Yeah.
I guess maybe I Know Where It's At kind of fulfilled this kind of type of sound, so they kind of wanted to show everything else. Because to be fair, every single they released are completely different from this album. But yeah, this one's a great one. They did actually sing it on their more recent tours. It's kind of like a band introduction song, so that was kind of cool. So yeah, I'm glad they're still referencing it for sure.
Solid song.
Yeah. All right, so what do you rate it then?
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I mean, I'm not to be too generous.
Okay, I'm going to 8. I'm going to 8.
The sample got me. I think I love the original. They did it just. I hate remakes of like old songs because sometimes they don't do it well. But back in the 90s, they actually put effort when they sampled in. So shade them. Up next, we have Trap by member Melanie Blatt, Neville Henry, Karen Gibbs, and John Benson. Ooh, okay, we're back to the chill.
Okay.
Back to the cool. But there's a little brightness in the vocal delivery, I would say. Now, this is the first time we're seeing Melanie's name on a credit, right? Like, this is the first time we've like, okay.
Without Shaz, yeah, without Shaz.
Yeah, it's interesting. Them being influenced by R&B really separates them sonically from other groups we've discussed on the show. Like, the Sugar Babes had the coolness, but it did lean a little bit more like pop and like soul. Even with like the Lost Tapes, it feels a little bit more soulful. Girls Aloud were super popalicious. And an Eternal went for like diva pop. But like All Saints really feels like 90s R&B groups like TLC, Sade, Jade, like that kind of thing. And that being said, I thought that this song was going to go in a sexy direction. Like what an American R&B pop group. If you listen to this, just like the production.
Without the lyrics, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, hang on. I'm about to get some snaps and some body rolls and some, some lip bites. No, this is more about like existentialism and mental health, which I appreciate.
Yes.
Which I appreciate because it definitely makes you kind of listen twice where it's like, I'm feeling, this is nice. Okay, I'm feeling this. What's going on? Oh, she's feeling sad. She literally says she feels a little bit sad. Okay, you can appreciate that. It creates like this dissonance in terms of the mood of the production and the words being said. Because no one really thinks mental health is that cool. This song is like kind of making it almost approachable to discuss. Like, I feel this way too. Shoot. Put that track on real quick while I drink something or whatever you were doing at the time or now. Like, this is depression, but like depression. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little like, not fancy, but it sounds a little bit more like, again, approachable. And I think the mix and match of the beat and the vocals definitely draws me to the song. I do wish that the bridge would have gone somewhere other than trap. Trap. Like, come on. Like, it kind of fell by the wayside. The bridge fell by the wayside for me, but I'll let it go. And maybe deduct like some points, just a little bit.
Oh, interesting. I actually don't mind the bridge, actually. Yeah, so I actually really like this song.
Uh-huh.
I think it fits well sonically, but it does stand out on the album in a good way, I think.
Yeah.
And I do love songs that are told as like third-person stories.
Oh, yeah.
That's a relatively rare in pop music, so that's always refreshing. And yeah, these lyrics are definitely dark. And it's interesting because I remember loving this one as a kid too. More so just because more melodically, I
I
think.
was about to say, it's like a very like...
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, this is like really sad story.
Yeah.
Like this poor woman has no idea where her life is going, It's like, oh God. Yeah, and I think the whole structure is really interesting. Like you do have some little spoken moments. There's a lot of call and response as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know, depending on how you want to view it, like if one of them represents the character in this that's like calling for help, and it could even be seen as kind of spiritual as well, or it could be seen as an internal conversation
Yeah.
as well. Like, yeah, there's just like a lot of layers to it, which I appreciate. And I think the melody is very, very pretty. I think Melanie, for the songs that she writes, for All Saints, there's always a really beautiful melody. So she's really good at that. And yeah, I think the production has some cool elements. There's some dreamy synth stabs in there, some subtle vocal loops as well. And again, it showcases all the different tones in the group.
Yes, very well.
So yeah, we love a deep pop song. I'm into it. I like this one. I give it a 9.
I'm laughing because I'm just thinking about how when I first heard the beat coming, I was like, yes, give me that. Because we don't have a sexy song like Bootie Call on this album yet, But again, it did not make me just deduct much points that bridge. That I give it an 8.5. Not that much. I still like it. It's just lazy to me.
All right. Okay. Moving on to Beg. We have Shaznay Lewis, Johnny Douglas, and John Benson. This was a fun one. What do you think?
There was a lot of bass in that beg. That was very radio friendly voice of you.
I tried to emulate how they do it.
No, that was perfect. Like that was very radio friendly. I was like, wow, it's good range, good range. You know what? Just when I thought, here is the sexiness, you gotta beg. Psych. It's about a crappy friend. Like, not gonna lie. Like, okay, hang on, wait. This could have been the song that could have leaned into an unfaithful lover or something. Cause like telling your friends to get on their knees to beg and that karma will come around and get them as a top line, waste. This is one of those times.
No, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
No, hang on. That's vindictive. You better get on your knees. Like, I get the sentiment where it's just like, you know what? You give those dusty old men a chance. Why not give your friends that chance, the same energy? You know what I'm saying? I get that mentality, but it's just so funny because I was like, da-da, 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 and it's like about a friend. I was like, bruh, don't do this. Don't please. Like, this is a moment. It's okay though. Doesn't make me like the song any less, but it did throw me off. But again, I do enjoy the song. The harmonies are tight. Again, jazz personality, G mentality. I'm here for it. It's cool. Very cool. But again, I just wish they would have just gone for the, you know, it's different. But again, you just fall into the trap of like, oh yeah, an unfaithful guy. I do appreciate like the stacks of the vocals of the harmonies, like especially in that pre-hook. It's fun. I like it. It's or the post, is it the chorus? And then the post-chorus, the da-da-da-da, you got it. Yeah. I like it. And there's like this really quirky kind of synth in there. So the song just keeps giving. It's fun. The second verse, you have the harmonies where they're kind of belting, like, I won't let nobody. I like that. It's fun. There's a lot of parts of this song where I'm like, this is a solid stinking song. It's just thematically, it just threw me off again. I can appreciate it, but I would have appreciated it a little bit more if they would have just kind of gone for the whole you ain't ish. I would have appreciated it. That's more of an American approach.
Yeah, but you can tell your friend that they aren't ish.
Absolutely. I said that. The same energy you give these dusty men, you need to give to your friends. Okay?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I think the American in me was just like, you can give me he ain't ish. Give me, girl, come on. But again, I appreciate the difference, but it's just so funny because I was like, yes, beg.
I especially love, though, because it's like, you screwed me over. You better get on your knees. But even after you get on your knees, I will still not forgive you. That's the best part to me. I think that's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, this is great. It's great to see a sassier side to them. It's got a bit more of a funk influence in there as well. I agree. I love how the chorus is mixed with the group moments. Then there's a lead vocal. It's just really, really, really fun. Mel and Shaz bring very different energies to the song as well.
Yeah.
So the way they execute their choruses are very, very different. So that also keeps it all very interesting. And Nicole coming through with those talky bits. Beg, baby. So good. And there is a live performance as well with Jules Holland with all the horns and stuff, which is awesome. Like hearing it with the big orchestra and everything is very, very cool. And again, that performance reminded me of how messy this era was for them behind the scenes. So just teasing that 101 again. But yes, this one's a highlight for sure. I enjoy it.
All right. So you like the thematicness of it.
I
The
do.
lyric. So, but what is your score?
Okay, I will give it an 8. Solid album track. How about you?
I'm going to give it an 8 as well. It's not bad. I just want to say I did not deduct points because of the lyrical content. I still appreciated it, but it's not as up there with the other songs. So I gave a higher score. Up next is Lady Marmalade, and this is a cover and reinterpretation of LaBelle's 1974's hit, Lady Marmalade. And it was written by Kenny Nolan and Bob Crew and reproduced by Neville Henry, Karen Gibbs, Johnny Douglas, and John Benson. And this was released as a double A-side with Under the Bridge, as we previously mentioned. And the groups took the original hook and added new rap verses. The #1 single had a brand new single mix and also had a remix done by Timbaland that was included on the Dr. Dolittle soundtrack.
Yes, so Lady Marmalade. So actually, I'm pretty sure this is the first version of Lady Marmalade I had ever heard.
Before the
LaBelle one, and then before, obviously, the Moulin Rouge one. And I'm pretty sure All Saints' version was inspiration for what would become the Moulin Rouge one. Like, I feel like this song became part of pop music again. And then the Americans were like, oh, that's a great idea for Moulin
That
Rouge.
checks out.
Yeah. I think their interpretation is fine. I think it's creative. I think it has some interesting elements to it. I think Shaznay's rap verses are cool.
Yeah.
All Saints are not very soulful in their vocal style. So it's kind of interesting to remove all of that from the original and turn it into something that's just a bit darker, I guess.
Yeah.
But the harmonies are kind of interesting, especially the way that they're mixed. And everything's just kind of a bit icy, which makes it a bit more intimidating as well, which is kind of their thing, right? Like as a group, they're like kind of intimidating.
Yes.
So if that's kind of the angle that they're going for, like even when they sing like where you think you're sleeping tonight, it's like a demand. It's not like a cheeky, like sexy thing. It's like you.
Yeah. I'm crying.
Yeah. Production wise, I think the bass line combined with all the DJ scratches is fun.
Uh-huh.
I have heard this out when I've been in the UK before, and it does go off quite well. And then they always get into like the Moulin Rouge version, so it always works well. So yeah, I appreciate the uniqueness of their interpretation. I need to go back and look exactly why they covered Lady Marmalade and Under the Bridge. I think there was a reason they did those two. I think there's like a larger story behind it, but I don't remember it right now. But I think it's cool. I think it's a memorable moment in their discography. I think it's creative. Yeah. Is it my favorite All Saints single though? Not at all. But yeah. What do you think?
I agree with you on a lot of it. And speaking of like the soul, you can tell the soulfulness. You can tell like what influences people have. Like me, I'm not a soul singer or like a very melismic kind of singer. That's because of my influences, right? Like, I'm learning that now. With them, I don't hear the funk soul kind of influences. Like even in the second verse, I think it's Melanie, right? The second verse.
Yeah.
She's singing like this, and I was like, girl. There's a lot of this going on, and I don't know what accent that is. And I was just like, for me,
she's French.
Because I was like, what is that? Because it almost made me turn off the track. I was like, who is that? Because I did not know the names of the group, and I could not tell them apart yet. I'm still getting it together. I even asked you just now, who was that? But I know it's Melanie, but it just didn't. It wasn't. Oh, sorry, guys. That's my biggest critique of this. And she came in the track singing just like that. And I was like, girl, what's happening? On a positive note, I do like the production in certain points. Like in the beginning, I was listening with my headphones and the panning of the I like that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
As a fun little engineering move. I love the harmonies with the lows. You can hear those low tones and it makes it a lot more rich, which makes me appreciate it a little bit in a different way than I do the one that came here to the West. And honestly, if Timbaland made a remix of this for the Dr. Dolittle track and he and Missy are like bosom buddies, it only makes sense. Because I mean, hello. But yeah, no, I mean, it was okay. It does what it needs to do.
Do you prefer the Timbaland one?
Oh, no, I don't.
Same.
I hate when like R&B rap producers try to make pop and then like vice versa, because then they try too hard to make it sound. I'm like, just do what you would normally do, but just keep in mind that you're doing it for like a girl group or something, or like just listen to their other stuff and like kind of keep that into consideration. It just doesn't sound like a Timbaland track. Even back then, he was doing way better things. But anywho, now when I listen to it, like even the way Shaznay was rapping, the way she was rapping, her verses are so fun, and like his version just kind of stripped that away. It was not cool anymore. But yeah, no, I totally think they were like, "Yo, we gotta do this for Moulin Rouge." I like the video though.
Yes, so it is the part one of the Under the Bridge duo there. So it's the party. They finally went to where it's at.
I'm in tears. Oh my god, yes, combine it, make it all make sense to me.
They look amazing.
Oh yes. Honestly, back in the day, the way they used to like do the makeup and stuff, and it's trendy now, but like I've always liked it. I don't have the face for the thin eyebrows and the lip liner, but I've always liked it. Maybe because my sister's like that much older than me and always kind of rocked that look. They looked amazing. Oh my god, I love the color grading. I love it. It's fun. It looked like this weird little like vampire situation though. I'm not gonna hold you. Like that way the party was, it was just like they're looking in the camera.
That works though. That works
That
with how like kind of sinister it feels. That totally
yeah,
works.
yeah. Like, I'm sorry for those who aren't watching. It's all good if you're not watching, but if you're watching this, you see it's just a lot of forehead and eyes, like a hairline, but that was the 90s for you. All that being said,
Mm,
Timbaland remix excluded, this
mm.
song is just okay as a remake, and even with Shazne's rap, it's not strong enough for me to give it anything higher than a 7.
Okay, I will go slightly higher. I'll do a 7.5. Okay, moving on to Take the Key. Okay, this one was done by Shazne, Nat Robinson, Kirk Robinson, and KG. And they've noted that this is actually one of their favorite album tracks, actually,
Mm.
from like across their discography. Like they keep singing it too, which is cool. So yeah, this one's interesting. It's kind of more adult contemporary R&B, sexy. Nice to hear something a bit more intimate on this album. Finally,
Finally.
I guess. For you, yeah. I enjoy the instrumental. I think the staccato of the guitar, the keyboard hits give the song like an interesting energy and a lot of like cool syncopated bass drum hits too. And
Mhm.
again, just really beautiful harmonies and relatively subtle as well. And I think the lyrics, they do a good job of not making them too cheesy. They're kind of cheesy if you read them, but again, because they're singing them all kind of quietly and breathily, it's more
Yeah.
understated. So there's a nice balance there. And especially in the live performances, they do an awesome 4-part harmony as well, which adds to that. And we get a little Chazné rap in the bridge, which kind of breaks everything up kind of nicely as well. I do wish there were some ad libs at the end just to kind of give it a bit more of a climax because this is one of those R&B songs where the chorus just goes over and over and over again.
The 90s were just, oh
Yeah, they
god.
loved that. They loved that.
Yeah, a fade out.
But yeah, I enjoyed this one. I think this is another one of those songs that grew on me a lot as I got older. I did not really appreciate this as a kid. So,
I hear you, man. Listen to everyone listening, all saints, all sinners. Oh, new fan name, all sinners. Listen, y'all. I know I said I wanted some intimacy, and I'm so glad we got it. I'm not saying that every single R&B has to do it, but it's nice to hear because they're of age, first of all, and they have the chops for it. Like there's the subtlety in which they sing with in the harmonies is whisper-esque, very intimate, very like red light special. We're in the room together. Club performance is very close encounter of the sexual kind. And that's what I like. Me, myself, you don't have to always do it. I get it. But this song was just asking for a little something. The album was asking for a little bit less confrontational as it is in later Marmalade and actually happening, unlike Beg. And I'm teasing. But they didn't have this on the album. So
there's
when
some
it finally,
B-sides actually. So when we get into those,
I
mm,
make sure that you guys leave those comments with the B-side. Or if you want priority, be sure to join us on Patreon at patreon.com/CCTV Pops to prioritize the B-sides so we can get nasty. All right. Teaser. But I listened to this and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. The hip hop, it feels like a hip hop sample. There's a vocal loop I've heard a lot in American R&B hip hop songs, and I was actually expecting a rap feature, but it's cool. Shazane handled it. I do that myself when I write my own songs. Like I can't find a rapper to do it, I'll do it myself. But that's what's so cool about having someone who knows her group vocally, but also understands what a song might be calling for. It didn't have to be a male rapper. It can be a female rapper to add to the dynamism of the track. So I appreciate that she understands that kind of thing. And it's nice to bring back the edgy sound, not even edgy. It's nice to bring back that laid back kind of feel, the tight harmonies, but you have sentimental lyrics. So again, you can appreciate it. And we haven't had a song that was like super intimate on this album. It's like come to the party. We might be innuendoing towards, a hookup, booty call, blah, 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 heaven, get all these, and now you have like a romantic track. And the thing I don't like though is the strings and the chorus. They're not my favorite. Only because like I would prefer live strings, but I can tell someone was just holding a keyboard
yeah.
on a freaking like, oh god, I hate that. But it's not their fault, obviously. But I get what they're trying to do. But yeah, I love the theme of like real love, true love, the key to my heart. The sentiment's very clear and it's not cheesy. And I probably would have liked this group as a kid. Like if I was cognizant of them. I mean, just hearing Shazne's rap reminds me now, like like, oh wow, this are my influences are come very 90s hip hop rapping. Like I have to update my rap skills. But this is definitely something that I probably would have liked as a kid.
Nice. So what do you rate it?
I gave it an 8.
Okay, I will do a 7.5.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's tough for me because I know kind of where they went sonically after this.
Yeah, it's
So I'm
exciting.
kind of grading it like knowing the rest of their discography as well. So I'm being a little harder on it.
No, I love that. On our show, Chris and I have a range of experiences with music. Like he knows these Britpop groups like well more than I do. So it's interesting that you know the whole thing. And me, I'm just like, I like this one. This is probably the
Mm.
best thing I'm ever going to hear. And you're like, nah, it gets better. So it's
Well, I'm very
exciting.
curious actually because their sound changes quite a bit. But yeah, okay, wait.
Ooh,
We have one more song to talk about. We'll get into that.
okay. All right. Finally, we have the last song on the album, War of Nerves. This was done by Shaznay and members Natalie and Nicole Appleton, Magnus, and Cameron McVeigh again. Ooh, we got the old band back together. But yes, this was released as the final single from the album, and the track was also the last song recorded for the album. And it was inspired by the death of Princess Diana and the theme of mortality. And this has been noted as Natalie's favorite song across the group's back catalog. And this track hit number 7 on the UK singles chart.
Mm-hmm.
This song, I'm not going to lie. It's a little slow for me. It was one for the snails, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad song. I don't. Now, when I say it's for the snails, if you are new here, Forever by Spice Girls was the album that I said that for. They have a track that's very slow, and I just didn't like it. But with this one, the pace in which it, progresses is understandable. It kind of reminds me of like a procession for like, someone's passing, so I understand it. It was just a little slow, and I feel like change in pace would have just shortened it a bit for me. That's it. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just 5 minutes of just very slow singing. It's just it's a lot for me sometimes. But yeah, I was trying to figure out what the lyrics were about. Like, I was like, is it about the first time? Is it about first love? Because like the line, like the stage fright in my own bed, like
Yeah.
it raised questions, and I was like, I don't get it.
I used to think that too, yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I was listening to it kind of like, just like not trying to be critiquing it at the time, not to be critical. So I just listened to it like, okay, whatever. But then I looked again and I was like, oh, it is about someone passing. Like this is their last breath and maybe they don't want to go painfully kind of thing. So that's when it started making a little bit more sense to me. And that's why I was able to tie in the thematic element with the pacing of the song. But still, I do feel like it's just a little too slow for me. Because I did speed it up to like 1.25. I did. I didn't speed it up that much. Like not 2 times. But I sped it up to a sorry, guys. Listen here. Listen, all sinners, I'm so sorry, but I'm not at the same time. The song's a little slow. 5 minutes is a long time. I've heard songs that were 12 minutes long. Walk On By Isaac Hayes is 12 minutes long. I get that. But this one was just a little dry because it was slow. Doesn't mean it's bad. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I do like the song. I do like what it represents, but it was just slow.
The song is very, very pretty. And I think the BPM makes sense for what it is. I think the slowness adds to how deep it is, I guess, and how sad it is. Because it feels extra vulnerable by being that slow. And then I think their vocal delivery also is very, very vulnerable. And I love the way it's all written and the way that it builds. I think all the harmonies are really pretty. And the song kind of starts off kind of cold and very dark, and then it actually ends a bit more warm. Because once you kind of get into the second verse, you get Nicole's harmony on top of Melanie, which is really, really beautiful. Then you have Natalie's bridge, which I for sure think is the best moment. It's super impactful. And yeah, I just think it has a really, really nice build to it. So it never feels long to me. I don't remember what I was thinking about it as a kid, but I do remember really liking it, like melodically. So yeah, I do think it was a risk as a single, but I think they had been so successful up to that point that they were allowed to kind of just release their favorite songs basically from
That
this
is so
album.
sweet,
And
though.
yeah. What did you think of the video?
This is another example of like getting it right in terms of like the feeling of it. Like the video was a lot more warmer and like color grading for me, and I wasn't expecting that. Like a lot of like oranges and like yellows, like the hues were interesting. But yeah, the video did help me like get through the song because I wanted to know what the story was about. There were some interesting B-rolls, like, like with a cigarette, them just kind of like not chilling, but them being alone, standing by, like with their silhouette, standing by like populated areas, but being alone and walking away from everything. And it's an interesting video where it makes you kind of feel a little like it kind of makes you question what's going on a lot because it's like you're surrounded by all these people and yet you feel really lonely. And there's also like a little bit of an element of like sensuality to it, only because of the dance scene. I guess it's one of those things where it's like I need to be free. I want to be like, and you dance your pain away in this weird way. But it's just, once the party's over, you're still alone. It's kind of the vibe I got from it. I do like some of the mirror images on the table. Again, it's just like a lot of like not is it metaphor? Yeah, metaphors for like loneliness.
Mm.
And I liked how strange it was. It was weird. And the fighting scene was kind of like shocking a bit because everything looked super fun, and not glamorous. But like, oh, we're having a good time, and then crap got real. Crap
Yeah.
got real. So I think it balances things well. Like I feel like if it was done in America, it would have been a weird, crappy video. But this actually did what it needed to do. It just feels very like isolated, even though they're surrounded by a bunch of I keep saying the same thing, but that's all I got from it was just like you can have a bunch of people around you and still feel alone. Like your last moments, you're alone. It's very pensive.
Yeah. There was something very eerie about it.
Yeah, it's weird.
I didn't really understand what was going on. Like, are they involved in crimes? I don't really know. Like, there definitely is like an interesting, like, if you take the idea of death into account as this kind of overarching theme, I don't know. It's just a bit. I guess you could interpret it kind of however you want, which is interesting.
Yeah. I think
So
the
yeah.
tour bus was weird, but
Oh yeah.
it plays into like I guess their fame where it's like, they're alone. It's surrounded by a bunch of people, and then maybe like the infighting that might be happening or might have happened, but it's between the two sisters instead of like everyone else.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, I thought also with whole kind of Princess Diana kind of inspiration as
Oh
well, with
yeah.
all the vehicles. Also, I
Oh
wasn't really
yeah.
sure if that was
Absolutely, yeah.
a thing. Yeah, very
I felt
interesting video. Yeah.
it's weird. Like a funeral almost or whatever.
I will say the performances were very boring.
Get out of here. Is it the chairs?
Yeah, they're just sitting there. It is funny. There is that one where Natalie's wearing like sunglasses and she's clearly
my God.
hungover.
Yes.
And they're
you
all
showed
lip syncing because they couldn't be bothered to sound check or something. Yeah, which is interesting.
I remember you showing me that and you were like, I think she's hungover. You're like, she's
Yeah.
clearly hungover. And I was like, yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
But then, now that when they perform it now, actually Natalie sings lead on it, which is very interesting because I think, as you noted, like she's always saying it's her favorite. So yeah, she kind of makes it her moment in the shows now, which is interesting.
See, I love that for her. I love that for her. That's a satisfying moment.
Yeah.
Satisfying.
All right, so I will give this one a 9. How about you?
As long as it is, Isaac Hayes has a 12-minute song, Walk On By. And I too think that takes forever. That doesn't mean I don't like the song. So I will give this one an 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's slow as hell, but
All
I
right.
do like it. I do like it melodically. It's great.
Okay, so we finished with the album. We're now at our cut or keep section. So if I had to cut a song off the album, it would be Alone.
I knew it.
Yeah, always has been. Even since I was a kid, that's always been my least favorite one.
Dang it. You know what? Honestly, that's the one I'm going to cut to because it's just, it's
Yeah.
okay. It ain't
Yeah.
nothing special.
Yeah.
As a track that I would keep, ooh, you know what? I probably would keep the I Found Love If You Want to Party because I would love to show this to someone and be like, yo, this is like a British pop girl group. Like, again, a lot of Black Americans, our parents, Sunday morning, Saturday, whatever, you cleaning up to this song, the original, you know what I'm saying? So it's just the nostalgia brings me back in for sure.
Nice.
Which one would you keep?
It has to be Never Ever. I think it's one of the best British pop songs ever.
It's solid. Super
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah. So I will stick with that one. All right. So, yeah, I think this is a solid debut album. Like, it's very mature, very refined. They defined their sound already as well, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it really lays a foundation for where their career would eventually go. It's kind of interesting listening to it back because it's very hard
Yeah.
for me to process like what I thought of why I liked this so much as a young kid because it's very mature actually. But yeah, I love it. Is it my favorite All Saints album though? No.
Copy that. Yeah,
Right.
and that's the beauty of our show. Like I was saying earlier, because you have that experience with it, you have a broader scope. Me, I'm like, I believe you. I just don't know what's gonna come next. So I feel like
Yeah,
this is a
yeah.
pretty solid album. So all sinners, whatever I've said now, hold it against me or not, but it does what it needs to do as an album. But yeah, I think it's pretty solid. I don't and also tying in with like what I used to like as a kid and like the R&B groups and like how I even write my songs now. Like I appreciate something like this for sure. So yeah, I think it's pretty solid. And based on my scores, I think I'm staying around like an 8 overall.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah,
score for the
yeah.
overall.
I think I'll give it an 8 as well. Maybe an 8.5. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. All right, y'all. Listen, come a long way. Have we done all the Britpop groups people have requested? No, because someone requested.
No, not even close. We will never run out of episode topics, which is why we need your help. Help us
Yes.
prioritize, please.
Oh my gosh, yes. But yeah, so now we're looking back on All Saints. I think we started this journey now, so we're gonna have to just keep going on with it, right? Next album after next album. But yeah, what's up with them now? Have they been like
Yeah, I believe they're on a bit of a hiatus now, but they were active for quite a few years, kind of pre-COVID, maybe right after COVID as well. They released a couple albums, and yeah, I guess they're on a break now again.
okay, well, I mean, it's exciting. It's definitely exciting to see what's gonna happen next. But yes, if you're an All Saints fan, let us know in the comments what you all think. Let us know your ratings, what songs you were cut, you would keep, all that good stuff. And let us know what other albums you'd like to hear us review. And if you'd like to hang out with us and the crew on Patreon to get priority choice, you can actually comment below or message us at CCTV Pops on all social media. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all the notifications for our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show on a podcast platform, please give us a follow, rating, and a review. Until next time, that's Chris.
That's Shan.
Signing off from CCTV, the nonstop pop show.